Yeah. We must pivot from a reactive posture of managing conflicts to a proactive one of cultivating the resilient, sustainable peace. We must move beyond national security, focus solely on borders to human security.
Amenities for development of the economic growth of that area. So now that for there to be sustainable peace in Nigeria, in the state and in Nigeria as a whole, that we need to prioritize rural integration in our economic development. We need to prioritize rural integration. We need to strengthen governance through transparency and community influence. They will see light for 24 hours in 2 weeks. So they have to wait for 2 weeks before another light comes. You know, they say they cannot use, sometimes they will start using generator to power their equipment. It's very expensive. To use fuel, to use diesel, it's very expensive. So we actually made that the government should look into these rural areas and see that they have road, they have good road, they have energy, that is power, and that they should also encourage networks like MTN, Globacom, Airtel to establish their mask in such areas so that they will not be cut off from the urban centers. Then we also made a recommendation that the government, inclusive of the community, should enable peace framework in their infrastructural policy. Once any policy that the government or the community wants to do, that they should, enrich peace framework so that our youth so that they will not be restless. They will be resting. And then we also recommended that there should be improved maintenance fund. There should be an improvement in maintenance. That sometimes we also discovered that in this rural area, some of the rural areas, some years back, maybe during the Awolowo regime also, that some of them actually had network. They have good road network, but unfortunately, because of lack of maintenance, all those things they are bad. They are spoiled. So there should be an improvement. I mean, incorporation of maintenance culture. Whenever the government is able to establish good roads, give energy and power, then there's this establishment of network facilities, we should also encourage maintenance culture. Not that the government should be doing establishment of road at that very lost. That is maintenance culture is one of the things we also discover that is very lacking in our community.
So, thank you. Please, I want to make sure that subsequent your presentation, I'm sorry, you will still be for the presentation, not the conference, or something. You will write something, you read something from literature, and something to use, and then what is that? What are you doing to break it up? What method? Your method, you didn't, it was not articulate at all. You know, the things that I contain, you first tell us what kind of design, because we are doing a book that should have a design. What is the design or procedure of program design? You should just start from the calculation. But you see, you use new methods. Talk of if you use these two methods, one it should be more emphasized, and then the other will be the support, because we find it difficult, and you are using this to explain what we found with the other methods. That we cannot get. And you know the way you collected your secondary data, you didn't tell us you have two things that you did qualitative and secondary data. You didn't tell us your conclusion, and I saw that normally when you You don't need to mention the villages this way you mention it, because that is part of ethics. In interviewing, you are supposed to keep me in the background. And you are mentioning town, and then you just areas, and then I also discovered that in mentioning, you didn't select, you were not happy now. You have all the states but one included. You didn't tell us why you excluded Lagos. But all you mentioned, I have Ondo, in fact, you didn't mention Oshusa.
How can we begin to situate aid to actually help us in our own predicament? And so many responses have been actually so many responses has actually brought about having a, like for instance now the Middle East now that Turkish government have actually started their own humanitarian agency just to begin to look at their own cultural nuances more and all that in terms of giving aid to those who have been affected by maybe natural disaster or armed conflict in their locality. And that is the reason why NEMA was actually established to begin to look at perform the work of humanitarianism. And what is humanitarianism? Humanitarianism is the act of what? Giving aid, the practice and the act of giving aid, the science of aid itself. And when we look at to the next one between resilience, humanitarianism, and the IDP self-reliance.
Social identity theory and framing theory. We combined these two theories to look at the literature review. And what came across is that social identity theory actually speaks to identity science, the we versus the us, versus the them, the in-group versus the out-group. When groups meet, the first thing they do is to go through 3 stages. First, they categorize, as Fela would say, me and you know they from the same category. They use that. And then there's the social identification. Oh, I identify with this, I identify as an Igbo, and then thirdly, they just start comparing to the psychological basis on ethnic polarization. For the framing theory, it simply says that in summary, that there is nothing that the media doesn't give us reality. It makes up its own reality and puts it in the frames that against the backdrop of what we need to achieve. Therefore, we look out what we have. Next slide. So, the next one. So, if you look at this, the media have chosen to take this gathered part. And when you look at what's within the camera, you see that it is the aggressor that is there. So, that's a framing theory in terms of what they explains how social media content activates and intensifies these identity silences. Okay, so let's quickly go to the methodology we used. It was a quantitative research. We looked at the data collection was largely done through books, published journals and unpublished journals, and the book we circulated semi-structured questionnaire and got respondents to answer. So our findings show that social media does play a dual role in shaping ethnic relations in Nigeria. The participants noted that while platforms promote cultural awareness and inclusion, they also get reinforced by algorithms can radicalize users and community tension, and so on and so forth. So, what do we conclude here? That it is important to mitigate social media's role in ethnic conflicts and it demands innovation, context-specific interventions that address both its technological drivers and its profound social embeddedness in Nigeria's complex ethnic fabric. So we recommend that, number one, we establish an AI-powered multilingual conflict early warning system. This coordinates disinformation and campaigns in local languages on the social media and highlights it so the government can do something about it. We should launch a digital peace building fellowship for tech-savvy youths from conflicting ethnic groups. And then create a social media truth and reconciliation commission. We've noticed how that worked under the Obasanjo region. And if we could reproduce that for the social media space, that would help. And we should introduce algorithm literacy to our secondary school and university students so that they start well to know when they begin lying them. And then finally, create a geo-targeted content calming pilot with tech platforms. That way, government agencies partner with Meta, Facebook, and X to implement a system in high-risk Nigerian states during volatile periods, because we also did notice that there's an uptick during election setting important periods. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you so very much. I don't think I have much to say about this. I'm proud of it. So I'll leave it up to people. Actually, what we need is actually a study, and therefore it's only on conferences like this that we throw this to the table, so that private eyes of others look at that, tell us what is not really well done. Punch that hole so we can go and close the hole and give you something better. So the house is open.
Mine is just a suggestion. What needs to be, like we said, so technical issues that in the process of correction. One, they will try to itemize the focus. That is something like the themes. So the themes are not clear, and your discussions should be based on the themes. So you just, the response is will be knowing whether this response is on team one, what of your focus, or on team two, or team three. So try to itemize the
Teams can be guided by objectives.
The qualitative will normally try to say things or research questions. We call it research questions. So try to do that, and again we look at those recommendations and see those ones that are not strictly based on findings and delete them. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah, that was an excellent presentation. Yes. And then, apart from the last recommendation you mentioned, you were just saying just like that's what the school there's need to particularize who are the government agencies, NGOs, organizations, and all. So the way you presented the last recommendation should also be the way to address other organizations. So let's go how and who are addressing it.
Yes. why appreciating the center include, you can see that the regulatory framework, regulatory framework for the policy government, it's weak in enforcement, rather, it's weak. The factors that make it weak, such as lack of facility of cost, corruption, lack of political will, I think we should recommend how to strengthen all this. Lack of political will, lack of infrastructure, corruption, all this. Yes.
So find get out across these three areas. Media, engagement, there are some differences.
There are some differences, but
Also, I don't know if you try to find out if there is an existing institution that looks into social media issues in terms of concerning fake news, that existing institution will be doing it. Say there is need for official investigation, it is that handles that. You try to find out if there is an existing.
yes, everyone didn't see evidence of that. There are some civil society groups that try, but haven't been felt. But that's why we think that government, most of these recommendations are from the government. That's why we think the government agency should head it so that there can be that reach.
Yeah, did you discuss the network? So, and the issue of farmer elder conflict is as a result of scarcity in resources in terms of land, water, and the grazing areas that are available for the pastoralists to graze their cows. Farmer elder conflict has actually escalated over the years. Escalating clashes, threatening food security, and rural livelihoods. Weak institutional mechanisms and ambiguous land policies exacerbate tensions, and the need to evaluate the effectiveness of the informal and formal conflict management systems. So what I'm saying here is that you need to, this study interrogates the existing conflict transformation and resolution mechanisms in place. And apart from interrogation, we want to know how far are they effective? How far are they trying to solve the farmer elder conflict? And lastly, to interrogate if these approaches are actually sustainable or not, and under what conditions do they succeed or fail? So the key concepts, we mentioned the conflict, which is tensions between two or more communities or two or more persons. Conflict management, the approaches whereby we manage conflict, be it conflict resolution or conflict transformation. And sustainability, how can we sustain all these management approaches? How sustainable are they? So theoretical framework. This study is grounded on two theories. Number one, resource scarcity and environmental conflict theory, which basically posits that conflict emerges if there is a shrinking conditions of resources, be it land, water, or grazing area, as in the case of this farmer elder conflict. Then the second one is conflict transformation theory. We all know that conflict resolution is basically about settling the conflict. But conflict transformation deals with how we transform the underlying factors, the patterns, and those involved in the conflict. So for this study, I adopted the quantitative research designs, which involve the in-depth interview, which is the IDI, and focus group discussion, as well as semantic analysis, which was used to identify reporting patterns. So key findings of this research say that the major issue for Kyoto, which is the farmer elder conflict, is as a result of competition over land or water. The farmers are claiming
arguing that the pastoralists usually encroach on their farmland to graze their cows, while the pastoralists are also claiming that they encroaching on farmers' land is not actually intentional, but they act like mental rules. Then climate variability affecting the grazing patterns. We all know that the area is facing a lot of climate change, a lot in terms of drought, in terms of climate and all. Then weak regulation of pastoral mobility. We all know that we have weak grazing and grazing laws in Nigeria, basically, and Okeogun is one of the areas affected by this weak anti-grazing law. Then decline. So decline jobs.
Human rights in Nigeria. This institution, according to this paper, we categorize the two. So we found out that these two institutions are the people that are supposed to protect human rights in Nigeria, which are government established institution and non-governmental organization. Under governmental established institution, we have the judiciary, we have National Human Rights Commission, we have Public Complainants and Commission, we have Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and we have the Nigerian Broadcast Corporation, among others. These are the people that are supposed to provide protection for human rights. But sometimes we find it's difficult for them. They don't do their work, and which is really causing trouble in the country. And non-governmental organization, we have Nigerian Bar Association, Civil Liberty Organization, Committee for Defense and Human Rights. I believe non-governmental organizations, they are trying to do their best, but I believe their best is not enough. So we really want to do research to see where we can at least add value to their contribution. So we have research question 3.
Coming up with this topic started, I think, yes, the federal government relocated federal capital city in 1992. Lagos State used to be capital of federal government, but around December 12, 1992, President Biden took away the federal capital city of Lagos to Abuja. So oftentimes, there will always be youth residents, especially the 5 communities. Community leaders, stakeholders, and all kinds of people come up with many measures to addressing youth residents. At the time when Swahili was consulted to come to this community 3 times a week to seek for youth or the need for them to come together. Then again, aside from Swahili, media organizations have often been called to come and give publicity to these youth, and at the same time to actually ask for what were the causes. So today, nothing has actually, no solution has yet been assigned. So, and I realized during my finding that while we were growing up, there are so many areas where we used to play. Where we, for example, the place where the Chilenkeo, Abiola, the private set as the president, used to be more of a judo and basketball court. But today, nothing. The place has been converted to shop by Lagos Island Government. Again, too, I discovered that then there are so many alternative media platforms through which youth residents, because when youth are full of energy, and when you don't give them avenue to really explore, maximize that energy, they go on rampage, and this has been affecting the economy. But some shop owners in some of these wards that are threatening to leave Lagos Island just because of this. So based on this, I'm of the opinion that there are so many alternative media platforms, like government need to go back to bring about recreational and sporting activities to engage the mind of youth. There are so many other recreational activities like we have IOK, Ludo games, and again the need for them to interact with one-on-one with you, especially on government policies. So the study actually have 3 research objectives. The first objective focused on what are the existing peace initiatives measured in place by local government. The second one is what is the extent of the success of this peace initiative. Then the last one should be is what are the roles of the alternative media platform to continue to break the policy. My conceptual, what are the roles of alternative media platform to continue to break the policy among Lagos
money that is not actually paid. And in fact, UI is a very good example. We know these sources, DLC, like UI now, we know these sources, DLC, PG School, UI Ventures and all that, but just realize that they keep complaining that there's no money. I wonder where are all these monies, the code going in, where are they going into? And I don't know, but it's a big issue because this money can run into billions of naira actually every year, but they are not accounted for, and we keep talking about economy and all that. So I really don't know maybe how that can fit into the work.
So thank you so much. I think that's a very, very genuine issue. I was born in this university. I had my primary school and my primary school. So I know what I'm talking about. I also schooled there my first, second, and third year. So it's a very key issue. I remember when many vice chancellors were complaining, no funding, no funding. But we had a vice chancellor who was in Abadio, who came and what and what. I started, in fact, what he did was he really revolutionized the facility at Calcutta University. I want to ask him, so where are you getting money from? He said, I'm from program business. He said, there's so much, but where I'm getting money. You understand? So we should begin to interrogate what the school administrators and the councils. Because it is the problem they are creating now that is making what it is in the council. Understand? I know that the messages are from the idea they are making so much money. But to what extent they use this money to also develop the institution? Because what you have to is that when you passing the ball, government is also performing much. There's a lot of money that they can use to fix the school. And also addressing for science and guidance of the students and the staff what they need to do.
Of course, sir. It is the government that pays the salary. It is the government that they still get the kind of work money from the government. And at times, even there are some maintenance money they still get from the government. And I keep wondering, that's internally generated from where is it going into?
Accountability. So you should be talking about the issue of accountability.
It's a big issue. And if someone...
Sorry, I want to just write on what I said. So we both of us operated within the system, the state system. He was the secretary to government, I was head of service. And on the issue of funding, there is a basic challenge. Funding is supposed to be in 2 forms. Capital funding, that is for capital, infrastructural development, and monthly subvention to augment whatever is internally generated. But over the years, because of the problem raised by the doctor, that how IGR internally generated revenue is utilized is giving concerns. So government decision was that, okay, let us know what you are generating. And there was a lot of resistance from these institutions. So what government was giving them as subvention to augment what they are generating, they use it to pay salaries. And so when nothing is forthcoming from government by way of subvention, the issue of salary payments started cropping up to the extent that both teaching and non-teaching staff were not paid their salaries. Ordinarily, IGR should take care of that. Then the issue of fees now paid by students too. Because when you say you want to, the major source of IDR in the institutions is school fees. The school fees, except for some universities now that are going into some private ventures to add money. So the issue of funding is what should be dealt with a bit more to actually bring out what is actually happening in the state-owned universities. Osun State University, Osun State government has come out with a model. Osun State University has come out with a model that is completely different with what is happening in most of the other state universities. So it will further enrich.
Thank you so much for that intervention. I think the letter you are working on, but that's not to want to demystify the quality.
No, that's not what
it's what I don't very important. Look at some of these issues that were that I will raise to share in fact of the group. Thank you very much. You want to respond to some of the issues?
Well, let me appreciate the various contributions really. And to say that we further reflect these contributions to the quality of the work to enhance its quality. Definitely, one was actually one had the experience actually in the idea. And one of the things we found out in London was that crisis evolved when IDR was applied to the running of the institution when fund was not forthcoming from the owner states. And the crisis began from even some of the academics including the vice chancellor's decision to run the institution using the idea that he was making from the university. And that was the basic thing that started, that triggered the crisis, the prolonged crisis in the Delta. They tackled that eventually when the owner institutions refused to give him much more money, and they had to depend on now. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
The second presenter, Father. Okay, want to project it? Yes, I want to project it.
Possibly selected schools in Ado-Ekiti. So amidst the findings, it revealed that the students are exposed to substances like cocaine, marijuana, heroin, and this habit is fueled by peer pressure, imitation, and emotional stress. And going further, so going further, it's if I go further, so it will reveal that the teachers are very much aware that these students are using the substance, like there's increase of this thing in the school, and also the students are also aware of it. So for this paper, I had two objectives, and the first is to determine the teacher level of awareness of substance abuse among secondary school students in Ado-Ekiti, and to examine the students' level of awareness of the exposure and understanding of the substance abuse. So looking at the slide, this is speaking to the first objective, and it shows that the teacher are very much aware that the students are exposed to substance use and abuse in the school. It shows that aware of substance use among students, yes, and we have a frequency of 46, a percentage of 90.2, which is very high, and also frequency of encountering substance-related discipline issues. That is, okay, how often do they discipline or what's it called, catch students in these acts? It shows that really 7 and 13.7. Then we have occasionally at 18, at 36, at 35.3. Then we have often at 17 and 33.3. So I'll speak to the level. Like I said earlier, that the teachers are very aware that the students are exposed to this substance and at the level of 90.2, and the observed behavior amidst, and sorry to go back, I forgot to talk about the theory I used. I adopted about neurosocial learning theory, and it's a psychological framework that speaks about the importance of learning through, importance of observation learning, cognitive process, and social interaction in shaping human behavior. I apologize for that. So it's also observed that the disciplinary encounters often at 33.3 and occasionally at 35.3. They're saying that often they catch students sneaking things in, either mixed with soft drinks or food and things like that. And also it shows that the school has a policy, so there are policies in place in school to like address this issue of substance abuse among the students, which is at 45.1%. That means the teacher that said they are aware that there is a policy, they are at 45.1, and those that said they are not aware at 29.4, and those that are not sure at all at 25.5. So this is like a breakdown of the other slide, that the teachers and principals, they constantly describe substance abuse as the widespread and it's visible, and it's a visible issue in advocacy schools. I remember while on field, when I was talking to one of the principals of the schools I interviewed, I was trying to like be specific that, okay, we have these lenience among the junior or the senior secondary school. Like I said, I focus on the senior secondary school, but the principal said that they have it in both, and she even tried to explain further that it has extended to the primary schools, though we have more of it with the seniors because they are the grown ones and all that. And also that the strong awareness stems from daily interaction with students who exhibit telltale behavior signs such as absenteeism, mood swing, academic decline, and suspicious peer association. This is something I also expressed while on field, that there are some students that refused my questionnaire. Like I gave it to them, like, no, I'm not feeling. Like even from there, from behavior, you don't have to be told. You know that, okay, this person is a very good person. So going further, also theme 2, policy practice. Why schools? While on field also found out that some schools claim that they have these policies, the implementation. There are some schools that, okay, they have clubs. Like, okay, they meet on maybe Fridays where they come together, they talk to the students about substance use, the danger, the health issues and all that. Whereas there are some schools that said no, they don't have that. And also for the whole research, not just this paper, there's a part that was applied for the NDLEA that, okay, do they go to schools, do they sensitize them, do they do all that? There are some schools that agree that yes, okay, they come to our schools, they sensitize us, even corpers, core members, they do that as a form of their awareness, just to inform the students about the danger of substance use. And also, this thing is talking about the frequently observed substance, that is the substance that the principal and teachers spoke into, and they said, okay, that the students abuse substances like tramadol, codeine, marijuana, and other synthetic substances that are not here. Like, for further, in the whole paper, there are parts that the substances were listed that we have people that sniff gum, soak away, a lot of things. Not just these drugs, there are a lot with different names that these students are using or involved in. And the fact that there is easy accessibility to this substance, they can get it from any shop, local shops, street vendors, other peers. Like one of the schools I used, it's in a very strategic area that when you are looking for hoodlums to use, they are in that area. So imagine a school in that area where there are smokers, there are drinkers, drunkards and everything. So the children tend to like, okay, see what those guys are doing, which is why the theory I use that the students, we pick habit from what we see, like what we observe, what we see other people doing, like we pick habits from there and it become a part of us unintentionally or intentionally. Also, the external challenges limiting school control. So also there are challenges that limited the school control, because I asked the question that how do the principal or teachers address issues outside school? And one of the teachers said that, oh, the school is within their jurisdiction. Anything that happens outside the school is none of their business. And he also said that, okay, for a student that you think, okay, he or she is not using substance in school, do you know if he or she is doing that outside and they have zero control on what happens outside? So these are the additional information I got from the teachers and the principal talking about, because I was like, okay, what do you think, what are the recommendations for this thing? How can we reduce it in the school? And these are the things we spoke about, the counseling service, which is at 9.2. I also noticed that when a student is caught in that act of substance abuse, I asked, okay, you said we have a policy. Okay, what do you do with this policy? The first thing they said is that, okay, we counsel the students, we inform the parents, we let them know that, okay, what is doing this and that. And I said, okay, after the counseling, what else do you do? They're like, they suspend the child, the student from school. I said, why? They said, in order not to be influenced in other students. So I was like, is that not a better option? Like, okay, keep the students in school, maybe in a separate way that they are not deprived of the education they actually meant to benefit, even though they were caught in this habit. And they're like, okay, they do all that, or the government, you can't do this, you can't do that, you not just bureaucracy and all. So we have awareness, education, and sensitization at 73.6 for the teachers, and disciplinary measures, 34% of the teachers also agree. But one thing in the states is that teachers are not allowed to beat students. They're not even allowed to use cane. The best you can do is to ask them to kneel down. So in case where students is being caught in that act, there is no physical punishment that can be done to that student. The best they can do is just to counsel and do all that. So this is a summary of the student awareness. I'm speaking to the progressive school now. So most of the students, over 90% of them have heard of substance abuse, and they know that it affects the behavior and health of the users. And main source of information includes how they got to know about substance abuse, like from school. 28% of them heard from school, maybe through sensitization or awareness, and 23% of them heard from their friends, while 21.8% of them heard from social media, and 19.6% of them heard from the family. And also, the students actually understand substance abuse as the medium of getting high. Like 42% of them feel that, okay, that's the motive of using the substance, to get high. And 52.7% of them have seen someone use it. And 33.6 of them acknowledge that, okay, they know a classmate that uses this thing, but if you ask them to point to them, they won't, but they know that, okay, this person is using this thing, and which is very dangerous, because these users are not only dangerous to themselves, they are dangerous to other students, even to the teachers, because a few weeks ago, if it's not last month, we heard of a student that beat a teacher, and he or she later passed on. I'm not sure. He passed on. He passed on. So this is very dangerous, that they are becoming a nuisance to themselves and to the society, which will endanger the lives of everyone around them, even to their parents also. And also, 86.8% of them believe substance affects the health and the performance, like slow learning, absentia from coming to absenteeism. These acts that when you talk to them, they are rebellious. They are rebellious for anything, and these are that part captured that. And 64.4% were taught about dangers in school, which shows that the school is doing its best to like sensitize its children, but they are trying, but it's not enough. And also 26.6% of them reported that NDLA and health agency visits. So it shows how low our regulatory agency are taking this issue. It shows how low. I remember while I was at the NDLA, aware that these students are using drugs, but they are not doing anything about it. I'm very sorry to say that. And also, this is just the breakdown of what I've said.
Yes, you are going to share the panel after the library meeting. That's 11. That is 11. No, you are going to check it. He was here, so you will go to that side. Yes, so you will go to, no, you will go to 11 now, and you will go to 12. 12 will take place here. Okay, so thank you very much. We are catching with the other class. Yes, so that will be all with you. So you are one. You are going to be like yes, that is your one. That is where you are. Yeah, so please pay attention. Let us not sleep for about 5 minutes to talk to us. After that, we now separate with the panelists and then we move to the technical session.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sayo Papatoka. I am on Know Your Food Advocacy. I just want to appreciate the president and the leadership of this association for this privilege to share this thought with us. Now we have been doing this advocacy for more than 1 decade because we have realized that those people that give us advice on food, they are making a singular mistake. And that mistake has cost some people their lives. And that is what I come to correct this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are seated now, I want you to know that your foods are not the same. The mistake that these people that advise us on what to eat are making is that they generalize food for everybody, which is wrong. Our foods are never the same. And I'm sure that you might have observed with your own eyes that some people will eat certain food and they will not complain. Meanwhile, give the same food to another person, they will complain. Take for instance now, beans that some of us love to eat. If you give beans to some people, after eating that beans, they will start to complain of heartburn. Now, give the same food to another person, they will deal with it, they won't get heartburn. That goes to explain that the way we have to eat are different. As a matter of fact, food that fights sicknesses for some people is what predispose others to sicknesses. And as I speak to you now, sickness has become so rampant. And we have been told that 86% of these sicknesses are induced by our food. So if you want to live a sickness-free life, it is expedient for you to know your food. And that's why I'm here. I saw that you have died of ignorance. The first question I asked him, I said, what's your blood group? The moment you mentioned O positive, I knew the problem would come from you. Then I asked him the next question. I said, sir, what are your favorite food? What do you like eating? He said, I should work on. That will be too big to food now. And then they brought the food, they brought beans and plantain with oranges. So if you only would have been, but I have to cancel it. I gave you this, my book. I have to write a book that the guy who know your food, blood food, so food. I have to write it. And I gave you this book. And today, my advance. Please, I want to recommend this material as I drop in my book. Please get AB. Yeah, they are modern people. They can list some modern food and those sort of food. But they can also balance that they have the food of A and B. Now, we don't have that time. I would have broken it down. But please get this material, take your time to study. Many of you will be surprised that your favorite food may be under the process. And that will be the problem. It's just 2,000 naira. Please get a copy for yourself. Thank you very much.
Sorry, are we together? Are we together? Sorry, please. I'm not talking about the food because I know some of us want to eat food like me. I only drink water. No, sorry, please, madam, please just calm down. When we finish and we are going to the planets, yeah, you can just meet him outside, please. Let us finish quickly, we don't have time. So what we are going to do now is that some of us have the opportunity to get grants. Some of us have mentors that have gotten grants. Some of us have gotten consultancy and all that. Some of us we are lucky that as assistant lecturers or maybe as senior lecturers, we lecturer 1 or so, we started winning grants. And then some of us till now we are still battling to get grants, we know how to get grants. Some of us are still battling on how to publish in a high impact journal and all that. We are going to have a technical session we have some of us here that by God's grace have won over 7 grants, where who have applied, who have even paid money to listen to them. I personally, apart from being my friend, I have sponsored a couple of my mentees, to participate in his own grant writing trainings. And through that, I have had a couple of my mentees that have won grants, and so on and so on. Of course, I have also won grant 1 after I had an encounter with him on our own informal way before becoming a normal grant winner. So we are going to create, it's important that no meeting like this. Apart from the peace practice workshop, these are other aspects that our mentees are supposed to benefit from us. So we are going to also have a quick technical session for that. And I'm thinking that now that we have this issue of know your food, and you are just coming back from tea break, I know that some of you are prepared to go to the toilet and empty quickly what you consume because it is not good. For those of us that are positive, he has given us both good and bad news, but we manage it and say what we do. So I think let us do voice voting. Do we break down the technical sessions, do it quickly, and then come? Okay, the eyes have it already. Okay, so we are going to break down the technical sessions. We are going to. I have already introduced to you the. So we have all agreed that after the technical session, we are going to have our writing work session here together on grant winning, grant writing, and winning, right? Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that understanding because it's important to for all of us, including our mentees that are here, which is one of the reasons why we are here. So if we go out, those in the first panel, if we are supposed to be in panel 12, those in panel 24 can join those in panel 12. Those in panel 23 can join those in panel 14. Those in panel 23 can join those in 16, and then so on. So if you go, we are going to take this to be our last technical session. Yeah, so when you go and make sure that you belong to one session or the other. We are going to have one session there, and then we're going to have 4 up there. So if you go pick up the 4 horses are there, just don't leave not your panel, ensure that you belong to one So please let us know, you know the venues. And I also advise that if you were here before, just ensure you are no longer here, so that you can see the environment. Yes, and so you can see the environment. And you can see that you go to the other side, don't you like me?
Supporting one community against you know, those are not the kind of things, because you can't find that from the field whether that was where did you get that information? 16 military people were killed by some group of persons in the community. The military went there, attacked the community, and then compared to say the military was right. It was supporting one community against the other. You know, those are not academics. If you went to the field and collected your data from both members of both communities, and this is how you even if it's from one side of the community. When we were in the community A, we had an interview with the and this is what the person said during the issue came up. This was the issue. Then, you know, we are absorbed as an academic, but you won't sit down and then the thing you said, the military was biased, and due diligence was not done on the paper, you know, even for what presentation. Look, if you are presenting, we need to know the level of your paper. You will tell us, look, we are developing this paper, it has got to this stage, and so we are here to do this and get some feedback. We have finished this paper, you know, and we're here to receive reactions so that we can improve. But no, for what presentation more or less like storytelling. You know, it was more or less like storytelling. Look, we know that people can be very ingenious about presentation. If a laptop is even too heavy for you can use your phone, you know, to be guided. Because when you even look at the logic of presentation, you had already finished presenting, you know, your findings, then you now came back to methodology, then you came back to, no, that is not, there has to be logic and sequence in our presentation. Is that okay? There has to be logic and sequence in our presentation. And as an academic, you must be careful. In fact, neutrality and objectivity, that's what we always say. If a paper is very emotionally low, if the paper does not have substance about that, then you know what I mean. So, I'm just saying it so that at least we can all learn in the process, you know. When you are coming here to discuss academics, you come with facts, don't come with assumptions. You come with concrete facts. If you went to Delta State, or maybe you had research assistants from Delta State, you would have still been able to come up with a very solid presentation. So we don't come and then use our platform here to validate and say I presented at the conference. No, please. You know, we need empirical evidence. And it is not the order of presentation, but the quality of the presentation. That is the most important thing, you know, that we get to know. So I was still to the second paper. Any contribution? Any? Yes, you were the first person. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
I came in slightly before when but I was actually interested in the topic. But I told her that this presentation was more like reports, which that we didn't really have it, just like listening to news, like Prof said, channel, AIT, and coming up with your own conclusion. I was trying to live, but when you were discussing, I was trying to listen to your method. Okay, what method do you use in achieving your goals? I didn't really get that.
Okay. Can we help you? So, my method is secondary. We rely on secondary source, and we rely on data from ACLED, SBN, and some other data generating organizations.
Any further reaction? Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I only want to ask you one question. Not two. You see, Nigeria is in a crossroad at the moment. So, and you concentrated on northeast and northwest, and telling us the ideologies, two different ideologies. One is driven by economics. One is by colonizing or Islamizing the entire nation. Now, in your study, what would you recommend to Nigerian state?
One of the Nigerian government, they have largely relied on kinetic approach. And in our recommendations, one of the things we recommend is there should be a different approach to addressing security, not only within the north. In the entire, we all agree that the entire country is boiling. So we need a combination of both kinetic and non-kinetic approach. That's one of the things we recommend. In addition to that, the people that are victims, the people that are feeling the heat of the crisis should also be a part of the solution to the problem. And that's one of our own.
Please, I think a proper my question to last question is that you say that one problem of not east and west
as I said, some of the things that people are not doing, so they are moving. That's why I recommend economic empowerment. Some of them, not all of them, and some of them, poverty is something that is very rampant. And some of them, someone can easily be influenced. Okay, people buy as significant amount of money as 10,000, so they can be recruited part of the Boko Haram soldiers, and that's why I think that government needs to, introduce or allow to have economic empowerment. That's all.
From semi-structured interview involving 20 participants, including community leaders, local officials, and displaced residents. Data were analyzed using descriptive statistics and thematic coding. Findings indicate that banditry manifested through kidnappings, armed robbery, and village raid, with attacks concentrated during farming and marketing cycle. Over 60% of respondents reported that loss of farmlands and trade disruptions, with combination of increase in poverty and food insecurity and displacement. Despite minimal institutional support, community demonstrated remarkable resilience through strategies such as income diversifications, migration collection actions, and formal security arrangements. So we could see that in recent times we also have a way how each of the affected community are now diverting security system. They are developing their own security system. Each of the markets, they will have a vigilante that will also secure them and secure the market, because this raiding have also been monitored to ensure that the raiding is common on market day. But you can see that every attack, most of the people that patronize the markets will also come with a lot of money. So we anchor this on the sustainable livelihood framework, decision theory, and social capital theory. These studies advances understanding of rural adaptation to security and highlight the limits of community-based responses without forming institutional support. Policy recommendation emphasize the need for integrated security interventions, livelihood recovery programs, and participatory governance to build lasting solutions. And why we just open it is because we will see that the expertise will also shape our ideas with all that has happened within last week and this week. We're also looking at the threat issued by the President of America, Donald Trump, why the insurgent just decided to pick people who are worshiping in the church, and about close to 38 of them, and took them out, though they got them, and after 24 days after that, they also struck again and pick up people. So we are looking at how all these things will be articulated and have the perfect paper. Thank you, sir.
Questions? Experimentation. You need your input at least to make the paper better for publication and for their process.
No, I mentioned two theory, resilient livelihood framework, resilient theory, and social capital theory.
Then, have you gone to the field?
Yes, we've gone to the field.
Gone to the field, yes. If you have gone to the field, then we should know better than who is not in the federal
It's also Ekiti. That's why I say that we captured five local governments and 4 local governments initially, but with the new dynamics to it, that Eruku and Ishapa, they are in the city of Isapa. They are in the local government. Okay, they are in the local government. And we feel it's just a kind of new dynamics to it. And before now, it's either maybe when there is 1 kidnapping or 2 kidnapping, but this time around, it's a serious turning point. About 38 people, about 11 people. So we feel it's also be part of this to make it a broader research.
Research design. What is your research design? Descriptive research design? Is it analytical? What is your design? That's one. Right. It's going to now number 2. What is your sampling frame? Because from the way I'm looking at your study, you said you are going to collect data and for one particular day, you are going to interview something. So now, what is the population of the people that you want to collect? You want to subject to questionnaire. Then the second is for your thematic analysis. What is the number of those you want to generate? Because you said 20, and to me, I personally from humanity back, 20 is too much. In fact, the highest for either focus group discussions, the minimum is 4, the maximum is 8. Because by the time you get to 8, saturation will have set in. So, but I still want to know what is the population.
Yes, it's going to be a combined system that will also have a focus group discussion and we'll do structure interview, that which is structure interview, then we distribute
what I'm asking is this. I want to literally, so we have other ones too. So now we are seeing crime, we are seeing land issues and disputes, and anyone familiar with this area will know that there is some land pressure. People want to buy, and this will a lot of times. So let's see what we have in the data, the trend now. So you see, we have 219 for crime. But crime can actually be unbundled. I think that's what we have now. Popular crime in this area include armed robbery, ritual killing, domestic violence, sexual harassment, murder, common with driver's union, hotel management, and customers. However, you should know hotel management and still with time. So this is what we have. It's good for me too, so that I'll help you all. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, the crime, so we can see now, that means there's a lot of issues with this. These are kind of not so prominent. And if you're managing crime, I want to actually work on dissipate more energy on these two. That is what I'm trying to show. So now land dispute. As a result of pressure on the available limited land, you know, Lagos is very small, that's the smallest in the country, so they always have to move into Ogun State, and that part makes land a prized commodity, and as such, a lot of issues come along with that. I won't be able to, okay, I think let me emphasize the issue of money. That is those who think that they are the son of the soil, that they sell land, and if you want to do an archival work, or a document analysis, you go to the courts, you will see that land dispute is very, very prominent. Land is very, very prominent in this area. So now, protagonists have actions of criminal gangs contributed to the most to the conflict, resulting in human casualties. I've said that we're talking about lethal outcomes, that is death. That is the way we analyze what we do. So possible use for this would include the inflow of street urchins from parts of Lagos. Some of you might remember when Fashola was the governor for Lagos State, and the time a part of Lagos was very popular. I don't know for those who are known here. The Poly Ocean. We have to clean up that part. So many of the people who left that place.
Your time is up. Let's see your findings.
Okay, so this is the pattern now. This is the pattern, and protected for, let me just rush through. With respect to crime, possible reason for all of this thing. Weak security architecture is a very prominent one. Poverty and lack of opportunity, and this is also very important. Poor road networks and infrastructure, despite the fact that it's the third most industrialized part of the country, it is very poor in terms of infrastructure. Road networks are not really there, and no train networks, and all of these things actually what affect the life and livelihood of people over there. So the implication of the study, I've said that it's
Go to your findings and recommendations.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
So now, the implication of the study, I'm now doing. So the media will provide the highest information arguably in this regard must be treated and also warning us with caution because they also have their limitation. So I would say that it would be fine if we can also do empirical studies to actually back what we are getting from media source. And my conclusion, studying legal weapon requires a systematic approach to arrive at a good data and not essay and not presumptions or perception. Lagos is a very crowded and all of those things. How do you arrive at this conclusion? That is the essence of my methodological emphasis regarding this work. Thank you very much.
What makes anything effective? Allocation of resources. And I am not very convinced that it's about resource allocation. It's more about the politics of exclusion. From one particular position, the presidency of the federation. Okay? I mean, if some people who try to be funny will say, hey, but Nnamdi Azikiwe was the president of Nigeria in 1960. And so yes. Okay? There's this talk about political marginalization. Others will point to say, Kwame was there for close to 4 years with Shagari. No, for 4 years with Shagari. And would have been, if not for the 1983, would have been there for 8 years. Okay, as the #2 president. Jonathan was adopted by the region. Ebele. Was adopted by the, how do all this tie into some of the things that the strikers often say? I don't even know this is not part of the rotational presidency again, and I think it ties to what I was actually trying to say about the system for the politicians. And there are no people around the border. Okay, Suka. You know, these are Benue people who are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see that there are several internal dynamics again that make some of these things tricky. However, if you say, oh, let the president come from the southeast. If the man is from a body, will the rest of Alibu rally around the person? You understand?
They will not.
Okay? And you see, Southeast will always say, oh, the Anambras always get everything. You understand what I mean? Okay? Political positions, prominent ones, you find it's the Anambrians who get. I don't know whether it's by design or by just, chance or whatever. Okay? It's a reason for resentment within the Southeast. Am I? Yeah. So, there are several dynamics there, and some of these recommendations should note some of these dynamics for the needs, so that those reading will say, this person is not really familiar with the lay of the land, the realities on the ground. Okay, so the first is the focus. It should be a bit broader than economic. It's social. Economic. And really, the main issue, the main conflict issue is political. The agitation itself is political. The whole point of sit at home itself is a political protest. Well, it was supposed to be a protest, which was hijacked, which could be compliance, whether people support it, can we support this? How about people saying, no, we don't want? Well, we don't like what is going on, but we'd rather, agitate in a different way. You understand? So, I think the authors need to do a bit more reflection on all of these things. Are there alternatives? Are there people who are saying, let's do this differently? can we continue to find a way to see how we can get, engage whoever is in power right there at the center to, do more, by way of inclusion. This paper should talk more about political inclusion. But yes, socio-economic implications. Sustainable, because it's talking about sustainable peace. That's political. That's moved away from the realm of economics. Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
All right, thank you very much.
I will take this information to the...
Yes, my friend.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
I don't know whether those people you said you actually interviewed, because among the Igbos, we have the traditional rulers, and the religious group, and then we have the common. Because the view of the religious group is quite different from the view of the traditionalists. If you have interviewed the traditionalists in respect of crime, you'll be surprised because most of them became victims of this agitation. So I don't know whether those ones, whether you'll be able to gather that one and then to have a comprehensive view of the stand of the people. Not ordinary persons. So many people, many things are involved in that politics. I don't know, might be of use to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Actually, like I said, it's not my paper, but I will carry all the views. In fact, I've noted even that.
Let's not kill the messenger.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for saving me.
It is just to really talk for friends and relatives. So these are some of the things we are trying to look at in these papers.
So I was not suggesting the dignity of the scope of the paper from that any other
Now, I am tilting towards, more towards the theory that says that the reason institutions are weak. So the weakness of the institutions, the inability, incapabilities of the institutions makes it attractive, easy code to crime. So normally people may not even be disposed to committing a crime, but if they say that the architecture is weak, then it prompts them to commit the crime. That is why I'm tilting towards this. The paper is still in the formative stage, and that's why I brought it here so that I can get ideas from the honorable members of this panel. So the goal of the study is to promote a theoretical explanation on organized prison breaks in Nigeria by examining the trends and patterns underpinning the incidents of these phenomena. For now, I have a number of theories that I'm considering. There's the social disorganization theory. I'm trying to put my There's the social disorganization theory, which I'm exploring. The theory says that dysfunctionalism or weak institutions contribute or create deteriorated conditions that foster the incidence of crime. And according to this theory, the main driver for crime is the main motivation for criminal behavior is that people are likely to commit crime when there's an interaction between their desires and the opportunities to commit crime. When somebody wants to commit a crime and there's the opportunity to commit the crime through the weak architecture of the weak institutions we have, and if we look at the prisons have a number of inadequacies that have been observed over the years, from poor welfare of prison officers to poor conditions for even the inmates. So I'll stop there for now. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthias. I come from practitioners. I'm panel 14, number 6. Panel 14, number 6. Also the title of my paper, Building Sustainable Peace Despite Economic Challenges in Nigeria. Lessons from Adamawa states. And so the outline of the paper is because of the printing I did, where it's been there. Yes. Thank you. So my outline, I have the introduction, conflict context of state, then economic hardship as a driver of conflict, then extreme conflict sensitivity as an approach to building peace, and the lessons learned from the recognition of that. So quickly, introduction, government policy and programs have the capacity to affect peace and stability in the country, exacerbating tensions among groups, if possible, tensions are not implemented in a conflict-sensitive manner. So following the removal of fuel subsidy by President Tinubu in 2023, Nigeria witnessed rising inflation leading to increased prices of goods and services. As of April 2023, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's inflation was 22.2% as of April 2023, but rose to 34.8% as of December 2024. Now, within this period, a number of households witnessed economic pressures and no purchasing power to buy items, to even procure goods and services. Now, following these pressures, Nigeria experienced the protests that happened in August 2024, which was hard. Then, in this state, a number of states witnessed violence as a result of protests, including Bauchi and Adamawa. Incidentally, Adamawa was peaceful. It did not witness violence as a result of context in districts like Bauchi, Adama, and Gombe states, they've had history of different forms of violent conflict before, such as foreign conflict, indigenous settler conflict, sometimes manifest in the form of religious conflict, boundary disputes, chieftaincy disputes, electoral violence, and Boko Haram insurgency, especially Adama states. Now, coming quickly to talk about the economic challenges as a driver of conflict. Now, because of the inflation that has been witnessed in the country, especially in these two states, which I was not left out, which I also mentioned earlier, that economic pressures on households, low purchasing power of the naira for citizens to be able to buy goods and services. A number of citizens in these states who were engaged in discussions, expressed concerns how this was even driving criminality in the states. Incidentally, in these states, there were no violent conflict as a result of this economic action. Rather, what was expressed more was criminality. So, house burglary, theft, shops burglary, in each of these three states. Now, at the course of the study, what was also realized was, with the economic hardship being faced, removal of petroleum subsidies, these states experience increase in their internal generated revenue, in their IGR. Now, one would have wondered to say, that this economic hardship should lead to low IGR. Now, the revenue here, excluding the federal government allocation that is being received, just internal from the citizens. So, at the course of interrogations, what I realized was these states were able to adopt a conflict-sensitive approach. And what did they do? For Gombe State Internal Revenue Service, for example, we were going to increase levies and taxes in early 2024. They engaged citizens in a series of dialogues through their different market associations that were in the state. So instead of the revenue service going to meet citizens to collect the taxes directly, they work through their respective associations. So they invited them for a series of dialogues and they came to an agreement on how much, depending on the market that the taxes were going to use up to. And so in cases like in 2023, their IGR was 15 billion, and by 2024, it had risen to 20 billion. In Bauchi State, in 2023, it was 30 billion, and in 2024, it had risen to 32 billion. So key lessons that this study is bringing up, which is for a lesson for other states in the country, is that citizens' engagement through dialogue, trust, and confidence between government and citizens' engagement, such as coordination meetings, dialogue between taxpayers and the government is a step. Citizens engaged in budget consultation meetings as it's been done in these three states, Bauchi, Adama, and Gombe states, contribute building trust and confidence amongst citizens and government. And then provision of citizen-oriented service delivery promotes inclusion and reduces perceptions of exclusion and marginalization amongst especially those who feel excluded from one governance process as a result of being tagged non-indigenous in its respective states. So I will conclude with two key recommendations. One, we need to institutionalize conflict sensitivity into government policy and programs. And secondly, we need to have further research to provide evidence on how citizens' engagement enhances sustaining peace in our respective states, despite economic challenges. Thank you very much.
The Minister of Education is today one of the projects conflict in Nigeria now, and of recent it has increased significantly due to the increase in insecurity in the northern part of the country, from the northeast that are facing Boko Haram, central, farmers and crisis of banditry, northwest with high level of banditry. It has increased the possibility of conflict between and non-Indians due to the massive immigration from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country. And following the research process, we introduced 3 major theories of ethnic conflicts, which are fundamental, which are primordial, constructive, and instrumentalism. But we lay emphasis on instrumental ethnicity, within which it discusses the sentiment behind ethnic conflict and how elites instrumentalize ethnic differences. And specifically in the constitution of the country, it has increased massively as a result of the increase in the insecurity level in the northern part of the country, which has snowballed significantly.
General recommendations that the leader should do in the university. Let folks recommendations to the case and not parallel. So that is how it should be. All right, let me. Oh, wait, let's clap for them. Thank you very much for speaking this session. We'll see you after lunch.
Visiting scholar, let them be money. Fellow, Tata City. Fellow, Federalist Africa Ford Foundation, Bantam. Fellow, Tapas and Visiting Scholar, University, Germany. Fellow, American Council of AHP. Fellow, Afro and Visiting Scholar, Oxford University. Fellow, Institute of Advanced Studies. Fellow, Liberties and University of London and Israel. Now, these are fellowship. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, these are conferences and workshops. All right. I have next slide. Now I have more than 35 sponsored conferences from different parts of the world. Grant is possible. Everyone say grant is possible. Say it loud and clear. Thank you. Next slide. Now, introduction. Grant writing is a crucial skill that we researchers must get. I would say critical thinking. Say it loud and clear. I'm not hearing yours. If you cannot think critically outside the box, in fact, these days I tell people, think as if there's no box. The box is burnt. You may be tempted to run inside the box when there are challenges. Alright? So think why. The winning grant proposal it must be innovative and creative. Artificial intelligence will guide you. Artificial AI will not, if you copy AI in writing, they will reject it. But it will be what? A guide. Next slide. What is research grants? I will just miss this because of my time. Goals. The main point of difference between grant and fellowship is that grants are intended to finance certain endeavors, and fellowship are meant to assist you as an individual. As an grant, they can give you 300,000 euro to carry out research in Kogi on the issue of kidnapping in Kogi State, or in Ruku that just happened last week. Tell us the demographic. Tell us how can we do so. It may not solve up the problem, but it will give idea in a critical way. And there are so many thousands of group of founders that want to give money for value. I was in a meeting. DAAD, I was invited as a consultant, and they said, the director said, the problem, because they are German, they cannot steal the money. The problem is that's what they were saying. We have too much money, and the next year will be more. The problem is how we spend. I was like jumping on say, Titus, you are invited. Don't behave like the Nigerian. Just calm down. Because I was saying, my students are there, but I'm happy. My students are winning. Some of them are actually outside now. Alright? It's not that I'm winning. One of my master students who will be graduating doing his convocation has no masters, has traveled to at least outside Nigeria, fully funded. And he's working on what? Music and mountain. Yeah, music and mountain. We are looking at geological narratives, the entertainment narratives, the cultural and socio-cultural narrative about the mountain. So it's not just music, but music and the societal issues. All right, next slide, please. These are some of the grants I have won. I've told you we have fellowship and we have grant, right? We have travel grants, we have grant itself. One, we have no, go back there. These are different types of grants rather that we have. Like we are working on one grant now that's 2 million euro. And what are we looking at? We are looking at off the road automobility of cars in history. And you wonder 2 million for what? It's going to be taken for. They have to. It's not working. For any career, start with the little one. Okay? You can't get bigger grant when you haven't won smaller ones. I started with different. The first grant I won was 180,000 naira. Then to 240,000 naira. So down that time I now got postdoctoral to the University of London. Alright? So we have pre-doctoral grant, tech one, Podesta, SSR, Commonwealth. Then postdoctoral. Postdoctoral is that your PhD is no more than 5 years. So you are just defended and convocated this year. You have 5 years. After 5 years, you are no longer any career. So within these 5 years, you don't win any grants. Your case is not good. Now, you are more than 5 years PhD and you have never won grant. A lecturer, or a lecturer, and a researcher. They are seeing you as a senior person, but there's nothing to show that you are even a junior. So we need to do some fertilization around the tree. There's a way out of that. Alright? Then we have experienced scholars, we have a lot of fellowship. I'm sure we have platform. Through the permission of the president, we will create a platform. Because these calls come almost every day. And most of them is about peace building and health, peace building and food, peace building and human, peace building and animal, peace building and this. A lot of peace building things. Now I'm working on environmental peace building through musicking. Alright, next slide. The idea of creating a title is the first point. In the panel I chaired this afternoon, I told them, your titles are great, but your bodies are weak. But the title is the first thing. So look at some of the titles that have won grants. In fact, this one, I just won another one. I'm going to Germany by the grace of God, Jesus Tarry 2026. All right? This is the title. I'm looking, so it's not just, so go beyond just parochial, narratives that I'm a journalist who studied. No, bring in peace building. Go to social sciences. All right? Look at this one, a musicology, looking at sounding the oil. How does the oil sound? For heaven's sake. But I need money. I told you I don't have parents and I must survive. I have children. I have got to tell them oil can sound. And you can browse my name. I've published on oil. By the grace of God, I told them that I'm the first professor of ecomusicology and medical musicology in West Africa. I'm not telling lies. You can check it online. By the grace of God. Now, look at it. Sounding the oil, biopolitics and post-apocalypse in Niger Delta of Nigeria. I'm sure, but I got a grant already. They don't want you to just go straight, twist it, coil it like this. Do something that is. I told my bros, after I was just made professor October, and I said post-professorial, research. I'm looking at musical virology. How can music be virus? How does it connect? Critical thinking. Everyone say critical thinking. Some of your professors tell you, stay in your field, stay focus. Those focus, they are empty. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was one of the people creating, stay focused. What are you doing this thing? Bullshit. This is what I will advise. Stay focused, give them what they want, develop another one, be making your money. When I told them I'm working on music and honeybee, my department said, there's something wrong with this guy. and they call the undergraduate and post. Don't listen to him. He's confused. Because there's nothing music has to do with plastic. That was when Oxford said, oh boy, we need you. And they said, Oxford, and it has been on entity. Oxford, how does it connect? All right, if Oxford can come, that means I'm the best. I may not be too best to the department, but I'm the best to the world. Because Oxford is one of the best, and they are inviting the best. You can do the mathematics, man. Music pollution and environmental degradation in Lagos City. Ecofeminism and blue community. We have a lot of issues about blue community. Peace building, in all these, I'm talking about peace building. In all these, peace building are well germane in it. Alright? We have music and seventh continent performing crude oil in Nigeria and Ghana. Alright? The purpose I brought this is because you can think creatively from today. In fact, I'm expected to be thinking about some topic. You will think about this topic, bullshit. How can I even imagine this? That is what is work. Those titles will work. Like those that present, I said, send your work to me because they are good. It's just for you to repackage it. You must win grants. At least start with travel grants. Get $2,000 to travel to Germany, to travel to UK, because the money is there. I'm sure you know presently now, Euro budgeted 96 billion euro. European countries, 96 billion euro for grants alone, for research. And Africa is included. Next slide. So identify suitable grant opportunities. What are the opportunities? They are there. So I will give these slides after so that we can have access. Next slide, because the time is limited. Current grant these are some of the calls that are ongoing. Alexandra is ongoing, DAAD is ongoing, European Islam Council is ongoing, Liberties in Cambridge is not ongoing now. Casting, I can check up. AFOX is coming up in a few months. So you can link up this. Any scholar can win. And when you talk about if there's any trouble in Nigeria, it is peace. Am I right? And they are interested in those topics. Next slide. Grant writing subject. What are the areas? The title I've mentioned. Then the what? The abstract. The abstract. Problem statements. Background and significance. Methodology. Budget justification. Some of the grants they tell you don't give more than $100,000 as the maximum. Don't go beyond that. You want to buy the laptop, you want to buy this thing, everything should not be more than what? $100. If you go beyond that, forget it. It's better than don't go too low. If not, they will say you don't have capacity to spend. So you must come in between. Dissemination plans. Next slide. Creativity and grant writing. I've said it before. You need inspiration, determination, innovation, excellence, passion, vision. All right? I told myself my knowledge economy must count. So now, if you want me to publish in your article, how much will you pay me? Is the question. It's not come and pay. Why should I pay? Why? I did Andrew Mellon. They pay me almost $1,000 for publishing in call for paper in a book. Right? It is a choice. This is me. This is what I want. If you want it, is it free? I don't want free. How much will you pay? And before you even think of any topic for research, calculate how much does this title worth. You may think I'm too money conscious. Are you poverty conscious? Maybe. It is not that you want to steal from students, collect money, give to students. Not that you are dragging your PG students, come and pay. Well, they don't have money. You should give them from grants. That is how it should be. Next slide. Next slide. AI can help you, your writing, make you accessible, and can help you. Another thing I did, I looked at professors and those, I looked at their CV that could help me from different parts of the world. I look at their CV and I will write to them and say, dear professor, I will write a paper of them, they publish, that related to what I'm going to say. Your global physics, I've just put them down. Your work is the best in the world. But you know people, you are telling them what is the best. They don't go, of them don't go to church. Their book is their God. And you are telling your book is the best in the world. And I read your paper. And your book, you said so. In fact, you even said it, which is applied to Nigeria. In fact, from what I'm doing, I can see your work after citing the person, your work fitting. However, your work like this, and that is what I'm doing. Say, wow. Immediately they will reply. They reply. And the next thing is that, please, let me have your car. What can we go to them? I said, make me your mentee. I want to be your mentee. They said, one of them said, I don't have money, but go here. I'm telling you, the places they go, they have too much money. In fact, one of them said, are you free? I did not apply. Are you free? What is my jail doing in Nigeria that I'm not free? What kind of question is this? They will be begging you to come. It will come to that level. Say, are you free? Don't beg me to come and job. I'm totally free. I beg. Next slide. Rachel Carson, Environment and Society. I want to say thank you to Total Energies. I want to say thank you to Ford Foundation. I want to say thank you to DAAD. I want to say thank you to University of Cape Town. I want to say thank you to IFRA. I want to say thank you to Andrew Mellon Foundation. I want to say thank you to University of Constance University. I want to thank you to Alexander von Humboldt. I want to thank you to A.G. Leventis Foundation. I want to say thank you to UNESCO. I want to thank you to Hivos People Union Limited. I want to thank you to Naga Institute. I want to thank you to TechFund. I want to thank you to Rhodes University. I want to say thank you to Upper University. The great event. But Ife is actually my mother, but UI is my father because I finished it from UI. Okay? UI is the premier, the first and the best. Only that OAG is not paying my salary now. Great event. Great UI. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Somebody said that anytime I'm handling technical session, I find a way of introducing some things that are out of the place. That every conference, once they see me in charge of technical session, they know that there will be one trouble or another. But I do it with the permission of my president, so I'm covered. I have immunity that after my office, people can go to EFCC to chase me, but I know I will have good defenders. I want to thank my brother and friend. As I told you, for the first time, I was dragged into doing something with him in music. And then we did something, and I have had my mentees, I have won grants, travel grants, and all that through participating in activities with them. It is some minutes to 4, and then it's our desire that we go 4 on the dot. Somebody left a charger somewhere. Somebody left the charger in one of the charging points. So if you see it, just hand it over to the registration desk that will collect it. Yeah. So ordinarily would have permitted 1 or 2 questions, but you see, yeah, but I can see that people are tired, so we just allow our friend Dr. Teddy from Sierra Leone want to say something, and then the president will say something, and then we close for lunch and for the day. But Titus will be here. Yeah, Titus will be here. And anytime I see you, I remember Gerard Chung. Is it Gerard Chung of IFRA when we used to? Oh, you have seen it? Yes, I'm talking to you. Okay, good. All right, so since it's not saying anything, I want to say that Titus will be here. You can see him after your lunch or during lunch. You discuss with him, and then you exchange contacts so that you continue looking for that. There are some people here that will serve as good mentors. You know that we have spotted him. Professor Momodu is the director of the Center for Peace and Security Studies at Modibo Adama University in Yola. He has been mentoring people. I know of a fact that about how many people in the newly Taraba State University, the department there, his mentees are going there. Some of them are mine. So we have been doing that and helping them do that. So I will always encourage you to continue in approaching people. Don't be scared. When you see, that is the essence of the conference. Don't be scared of meeting anybody, or that you will not know where the blessing will come from. So I want to thank you very much for always finding time to talk to us. Let me now, before I will make my final closure, I will get the president.
I want to thank Professor Twell for his endless creativity. Thank you for making this possible.
And I will reserve my thank you to Professor Titus for a reason. I'd like to tell you a little before I say my thank you to him. 2 years ago, I called Professor Titus and I said, please, I would like you to consider developing capacity building programs so that members could benefit. I said it, he agreed he would do it. I think we didn't follow up immediately. Last year, when we had, you know, we're members of the International Peace Bureau. So as soon as the International Peace Bureau reached out to say they have space they are planning to establish a grant writing hub for the global membership. And we started asking people who wanted to be members of the grant writing hub to apply. And he didn't apply. That's why I said I will reserve my thank you. He didn't apply. But I reached out to him and said, Prof, you are very successful in this area. And I would like you to be part of this process. Again, we didn't continue that conversation immediately. Today, Professor Titus has fulfilled a promise he made 2 years ago. And I want to say thank you for doing so. And thank you for making this possible. Because when Professor John Swag came to me saying, oh, Prof suggested something, and it didn't immediately strike me what it was. After he did the presentation, I discovered that he is fulfilling the promise he made 2 years ago. And I think we need more of these. When it was 2 weeks before the conference, 2 or so weeks before the conference, I asked the Secretary General to draft a letter who could possibly, so that we send even to the Ministry of Health, the Nigerian Medical Association, and other people that provide health awareness. I don't know how you did it, but today I saw somebody coming to speak on health issues. I don't know how it happened. So I think we need opportunities like this. I have a colleague who tells me many people are dying and they don't know about it. And all they need is just a little information about how to make to eat right. She talks about eating right. And a couple of years ago, a Nigerian taught me a very important lesson in Senegal. She said, do you know how to eat according to your blood group? I said, I'm hearing that for the first time. They just say you need to know your blood group and eat according to your blood group. When you eat according to your blood group, you live healthy, you live longer, and you don't have certain infections. Prof, thank you for making that session possible. And I will need more of those. And thank you, Prof, for making this. With the kind approval of the NWC, I would like to request, this time publicly, this General Assembly is listening, to request publicly that Professor Titus please be part of the grant writing hub. Because you will not just be a member, you will catalyze a lot for SPSB members. I hear people say, oh, there's no money, getting grants is difficult, and each time somebody says, I just turn and look, I look with the side of the eye. It just tells me you don't know the opportunities that are available. Imagine one individual, look at all those fellowships, look at all of them. And you talked about AI. I know a couple of projects I have written that generated income that I used AI. Recently, I was too tired to do the right thing, so I used AI 20%, and Professor George detected it. I gave him a document to look. He said it looks like AI was used for this, because I didn't use it the way I normally use. He detected it. But I can tell you, except I don't know who will follow me, so I will not say how much is possible to make when you use these opportunities creatively. Thank you for opening. Therefore, if that team, and the grant writing hub is an opportunity that makes it possible for SPSB members, and I'd like you to hear this well. There are opportunities that exist for us that we are not even aware of, and sometimes when we hear about it, we are too scared to try. The International Peace Bureau is a network of more than 500 organizations all over the world. and most of them are based in the global north. Among these 500 organizations, many of them are donor organizations that are just looking for a credible organization, a credible individual, a credible proposal. Sometimes they don't need to know your face, your proposal speaks for you. When we sought to become members of IPB, it wasn't just a title, it was because of opportunities like this. And then you could talk about ECOSOC. For those that have, is anybody here with an organization that is an ECOSOC member? Anybody? All right, so nobody raised a hand. It's another endless well of opportunities. All kinds of opportunities. So SPSP is seeking membership of ECOSOC and now having confirmed special status as a member of ECOSOC opens up doors for collaboration with any UN ECOSOC member in the world. And you know how many hundreds of them there are. So we are still just scratching on the surface. We have not really made the benefits available to you fully. But if we can scratch a little with having experts among us that make these opportunities available, I'm sure we can do so much. So, do I have the approval of the NWC to have him added to the grant writing hub? Okay, I hear the A's, and it looks like the A is having. Prof, please take the mic and answer the nomination. Do you?
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you, President.
I want to thank you very much. When we have the best, we should use the best. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to you know, when I started moving down Ibadan to come and locate, sometimes when I now see that after month end, I will not have to touch my salary because I have this research that I'm doing, and then when I discovered that
anybody can join. Professor Titus will be adding those opportunities, and anybody, please, we will not post PDP and APC there. We will not post anything outside of professional development opportunities, grant writing opportunities, partnership opportunities that you can access. Please, you can then access them there. So that it's a hub. You could always go, even if you visit it 2 weeks later, you could always know that every content there is about professional development. Thanks for this suggestion.
So thank you. We are officially moving now. We go for lunch. Sorry for obstructing you that, but I think it's working, right? Something you for lunch because I know that some people are still looking at me with one corner. They look at me and assume that my stomach is already full.